In this journey of professional development and personal growth, I've started 5 years ago at the age of 35. I remember struggling with my own life, not knowing if there were any secrets to achieving success or, whatever success was for me at the time. I started this journey 5 years ago, and up to this point, I've probably read over 231 books in different areas. So the areas I'm interested in, which also constitute the science of success philosophy, is behavioral science, studying people and understanding people, leadership, relationships, and money or financial literacy. So those are the four topics we're going to talk about. And the main thing concerning these four topics is about what is in your mind. So if we start with that is, the science of success philosophy, the major key or the master key that you need in terms of finding your own success is whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. I think that's the most powerful thing, that if you understood it, it can change the rest of your life. So I call this seminar the Mindset Maneuvers. So Mindset Maneuvers is changing your mind. It's a paradigm shift, going from where you are to where you want to go. Sometimes if you want to go somewhere but you don't know where it is, you might go to the wrong direction. But if you set up your mind and say, this is where I want to go, and you write it down, and you know your destination, your mind has made up that. And so in studying the science of success, I first have to, define what success is. If I asked you what success is, any of you will have different, definitions. But the most important definition that I could find was the one that I had Al Nightingale said in his the strangest secret speech. And he said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Whatever that ideal is, whatever that goal is, you define that success for yourself. And so how do you define success for yourself? How many things do you need to measure, and in what areas and how often? That's the question I always ask myself. And for me, for example, there are 5 things that I have to measure. I call them the 5 fundamentals. So number 1 is my faith, my belief in God, and also my belief in myself. And the second one is family. That's the second important thing in my life. My physical fitness or my health, my financial fitness, and my relationships with those that I love and those that love me and the rest of humanity. So if you have to measure those 5 things, it's not something that you measure at the end of the day. The end of the year. It's something that you measure every year, every 6 months, every month, or every week, or every day. So in your daily agenda, you have to look at all those things and say, okay, have I performed what I needed to do in terms of fulfilling my faith or my religious obligations? And then I will say, am I doing what I am supposed to do for my family? Am I there all the time for my family? And then your health or your physical fitness. If you are not healthy, you cannot perform anything in life. Even your money is useless. So you have to work on your health. You have to exercise. You have to eat right. You have to, take your vitamins and all that stuff. And so you have to measure that too. Your health and fitness, and then your financial fitness. Financial fitness doesn't mean that you have to have a lot of money in the bank. it means you have to have the right mindset. There are people who have a lot of money but still have a poor man's mindset. So if you have a scarcity mindset, for example, you believe that whatever you have is not enough, you'll always have a scarcity mindset no matter how much money you have. And then your relationships. Charles Schwab, who started Schwab Financials, Charles Schwab Financials said, I will have paid any amount of money to learn the ability to get along with people. So relationships are very important if you want to succeed in life. And so, but in those relationships themselves, they have priorities. The relationships I have with my wife and, children and my mother and father and my, siblings is different than the relationships I have with my coworkers or other people outside. But you still have to learn the skills that you need to get along with people, Friendships are very important because if you have, let's say, 5 friends or 9 friends, and you're the 10th one, and they're all broken, dysfunctional, you'll also be broken, dysfunctional. If you have 9 friends and they're all poor and illiterate, you'll also be poor and illiterate. So those relationships are very important. So if you want to move forward from where you are and you want to change your life, you have to decide whether you want to stay with your old friends or whether you want to move away from them. Because if you want to succeed in life, in 5 years, you'll be in the same place except for the friends you keep, the books you read, and the people that you surround yourself with and your goals. So if you have bad friends, you're going to stay with them, then you become part of them. If you have poor friends and you want to stay with them, you'll be part of them. If you don't have goals, like you don't know where you're going, you'll also stay in the same place. You have to make up your mind and see what are my goals, and then write them. Our thoughts. In terms of, pursuing success or becoming a better person or moving forward in your professional and personal life, our thoughts are very important. So how do you control your thoughts? What we think about, we become. Our thoughts are that important. Whatever we think about, we become. Nothing is good or bad except thinking makes it. That's what Shakespeare said. Nothing is good or bad except thinking makes it. The way we think defines the way who we become and what we accomplish. We become what we think about most of the time. That's what Al Nightingale said. And also in the book, As a Man Thinketh, James Allen's book, the whole concept is that you become what you think about most of the time. And so if you think you're dumb or you can never learn anything, you'll always be dumb and you will stay there. But if you think that you're a person of substance and you can achieve great things in life, you become that too. A man is what he thinks about all day long. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that, the American essayist, that a man is what he thinks about all day long. Imagine you're thinking the whole day about negative things and you can't control your thoughts. You'll be depressed because you're thinking about bad things, negative things all day long. Our attitude. So we must control our thoughts, like the way we think. Also, our attitude is very important. Our attitude towards everything matters. If we have a negative attitude towards everything, then we live in a miserable life or a negative environment. So because, let's say, for example, you believe that, all people are good, and you believe that you're a good person. Eventually, you will realize that. Like, you will attract people who are like you, who are good people. But if you believe you're a bad person and you attract bad people, then that's what you will see around you. So if you believe, as a woman, like let's say a woman wants to get married and find the right husband. So if you believe all men are dogs, you'll marry or get a dog for a man. And if you believe all women are evil, you will marry or have an evil one. That statement is actually very true, because I see these all the time. Like, I see young women and young men that say, oh, they're not good men anymore, they're no good women anymore, because that's what's in their head. And that's who they see. They don't see good men. So how does a good man come around if you attract who you are? If you believe that, then that's who you attract. If you believe all the good ones are taken, then you'll only find the bad ones in the marketplace. If you don't like something, change it. And if you can change it, change your attitude towards it. That's what Maya Angelou said. So, for example, you don't like something, like let's say the way you behave around people. You don't like it. Change it. So, because if you change your attitude towards it, like if you say, oh, I'm around good people every day, you eventually start attracting good people around, as your friends and around you. So if you don't like something, change it. If you can change it, then change your attitude towards it. I think there's a hadith like that too. Our attitude towards others determines their attitude towards us. So if I believe that all the people I meet are good people, eventually most of the people I meet will be good people. If you believe people are genuinely good, you'll find and meet good people, and vice versa. The greatest discovery of my generation is that they can change their lives by changing their attitude of mind. William James was a scholar, a psychologist, and also was a Harvard professor. And the greatest discovery, even for me, was to change my mind. For example, I'm going to give you an example. I struggled with my bar exam. I graduated law school in 2011, and I wanted to pass the bar exam. I took the bar exam so many times, and every time I failed it. And it wasn't that I was dumb or I didn't know what I was doing. It was just that something wasn't right in me, whatever it was. So I started researching, and I think it was in 2016, and I was like, why am I failing, or what does it even mean to succeed? What does it mean to fail, and what does it mean to succeed in life? So I had to do my own research and figure out. So once I figured that out, the hardest thing was for me to change my mind. The easiest thing was to pass the bar. Changing your mind, everything that you want is changing your mind and changing your attitude. The way I did that was I focused on passing the bar. So I didn't focus on failing. Before I was focused on failing. I was scared of failing. Now I focused on succeeding. So I was like, once I was studying for the exam, I was like, I'm going to pass this exam. And I was happy. I was saying it, and then all of a sudden I was a different person. I started listening to positive things, and then I started encouraging myself. But I also, started studying harder, but also studying smarter. I adopted the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle, as it's called, is you do the 20 things or 20% of the things that will give you the 80% of your results. So you focus on the most important things. You prioritize. And so what will give you 80% of your, of the result that you want, the end result that you need. So, adversary is your friend, is your best friend. I think you should never be afraid to go through adversary. So don't be afraid of adversary, because there's no accomplishment without adversary. Adversary introduces a man or a woman to themselves. That's what Albert Einstein said. Obstacles are part of life. So if you fail at something, or, like Mustafa said, he took a risk and it didn't turn out the way you wanted at some of the risk. But on the other side, you took a risk in something else, and you were successful. So you win some and you lose some, but that doesn't mean if you fail at something that you should not try. So adversary is part of life. You're going to fail at something sooner or later. You have to accept that. But if you try something and you fail, or something bad happened to you, and that's the only thing that's in your mind, then that's going to incapacitate you. You'll be stuck there for a long time. So you have to learn to move on from every adversity that you go through, and say, oh, this is part of life. So you can either go through it, go around it, go under it, or go, on top of it. No matter what adversity that's on your way, you have to learn how to avoid those obstacles. Not avoid so much, but learn how to accept them and go through them, and don't see it as a bad thing. So failure is not final. It's just a feedback. It informs, it educates your abilities and skills, and tells you to build more stamina to withstand the storm, no matter how big or small. It was Henry Ford who said success is just on the far side of failure. So it's, if you fail and fail and fail, you eventually find that success is just on the other side, if you just keep going. I mean, I read somewhere that Thomas Edison, the guy who invented the light, a reporter asked him, you failed 10,000 times in trying to invent this thing. Why do you keep trying? And he said, his answer was, I didn't fail 10,000 times. He said, I tried this 10,000 times, and it just shows that the 10,000 times that I tried, it doesn't work that way. So I have to try one more. So imagine somebody failing 10,000 times at something and still going on. I mean, that's persistence, And so giving up is never an option if you want to succeed in life. So no matter how many things you try, and no matter how many times you come short or you fail, or something is put on your way, it means that try one more time. And every journey has its ups and downs, but the destination is still ahead. So every journey you go through, you'll find speed bumps, you'll go through adversity, you'll go through a lot of difficulty. But that doesn't mean that you should stop doing whatever you're doing if that's what you want in life. It just means you haven't reached your destination yet. Don't be disappointed by adversity and whatever that you go through. It's just that you should learn from it. And then if you fail and fail and fail and haven't learned the lesson, you will keep failing. But if you learn the lessons, I think that's the best gift that you can get from your failures. The circumstances. So a lot of us go through circumstances, and we think those circumstances are permanent. And so we never try to do something important because of those circumstances, Circumstances are just that, nothing more, nothing less. No matter what happens to you, nothing should ever discourage you from pursuing and following your dreams and ambitions. So whatever circumstances you go through, it shall never discourage you from pursuing your dreams and ambitions. Because, a lot of people will say, oh, this happened to me, and this happened to me, and this happened to me. That doesn't matter, because what happens to everyone. What matters is what you do about it. If you lose your job, and the next day you're disappointed and, cussing everything on your way, that doesn't change your circumstances. You just have to figure out how to find another job or a better job. You should not stop living your life just because something unexpected happened. Like losing a child or a parent, or he cheated or she cheated and you got divorced. So there are people who've been divorced for more than 5 years, 6 years, and they still think about that person. And they say, oh, he cheated me, she cheated on me, and we're divorced. It's 5 years ago. He's already moved on or she's already moved on. Why are you still thinking about it? Why don't you just move on and find out a better life? If it's meant to be, it will have stayed, but it was never meant to be. So stop living in the past and stop living in your circumstances and move on. Have to grieve, sometimes have time to grieve and be sad, but don't take too long because life is too short. Because if you lose somebody, it's difficult when you lose somebody. I lost my father when I was 12 years old. I think that was the most difficult time in my entire life. And I can't imagine anybody losing some loved one. And so if that happens to you, you don't have time to grieve and have time to be sad, but move on, enjoy life, because there's nothing you can do about that. You cannot control what happened. It already happened. So just, I have something called the 5-minute frustration time. So if I am frustrated with something, I go sit down and be frustrated for 5 minutes. So I'll be sad for 5 minutes. I'll be frustrated for 5 minutes. But after those 5 minutes, I say, you know what, 5 minutes is out. So I go out and smile and start doing whatever I want to do. So create time for yourself. Like say, whatever it is, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then emotions. Learn to control your emotions. Everything we do has emotions attached to it. Everything has the meaning we give it. If you're driving to work early in the morning and somebody cuts you off and you get mad and start chasing that person, you've already messed up your whole day. And I see that every day. Like some people, somebody comes and cuts them off, and then it just messes up their day. I cut somebody without seeing them, and then I saw this guy, with his truck running after me, and so he was mad. So he came next to my car, and then I waved. I was like, "Hi." So he's not mad anymore. He just moved on, because there's nothing he could do to somebody who's smiling at you and waving at you. So, control your emotions. Everything we do, whether it's sad, whether it's mad, angry, it's an emotional thing. Don't give people any power they don't have over you. So, for example, you see somebody blaming someone else all the time. It's like, oh, he did this to me. You're giving that person power over you. Like, no matter what anybody does, nothing can get to me. I control my emotions. I control my well-being. Because if you worry about what everybody says about you or what everybody tells you, you're going to live an unhappy life. You have to live life on your own terms. You have to choose to be happy, because happiness is a state of mind. A lot of people will say, oh, no, you can actually choose to be happy. Every time you're sad, smile. Say, ha, 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 and see how you feel. You can't be sad and still smile. Or you can't smile and still be sad. Like, if you've ever tried, you will laugh at yourself. Like, every time I am sad, I try to smile. And then I smile at my own, craziness. But it works. Because every time somebody does something to you, or somebody says something to you, if you get mad and you pay attention to that, you're giving them a lot of power they don't have over you. Nobody can make you angry and disappointed without your permission. Because who can make you disappointed? Because you have that expectation that everybody's supposed to be nice to you. You don't have the expectation. You try to be nice to everybody, but you don't have the expectation of everybody being nice to you, because you have no control over that. So if you worry about that and somebody says something bad to you and you say, oh, I didn't expect that from him, and your whole day is messed up. Your emotions are very important. So learn to control your emotions. Everything is within your control. You are the master of your own domain. You control your destiny. And then responsibility. On the journey to becoming successful in life, we are all responsible for our own life. And you have to take responsibility for your own life. Stop complaining. Stop blaming others for all that happens in your life. Because when you take control over your life and you take responsibility for your own life, then you will not you will not start blaming people. You will not start complaining about everything that's around you or everything that happens. Stop whining, because no one cares for whiners. People are looking for winners to be friends with. Like for example, if you have two friends and you have one that every time you're around him, he's either complaining about something or he's whining about something, you will try to avoid that person. If you're somebody who wants to be successful in life, you'll be like, this guy complains all the time, But if you have another friend and he's always open and you discuss ideas and you discuss how to move forward and how to succeed in life, you always want to be around that person. So when he comes to your life, you'll be like, man, where have you been all this time? I've been looking for you. So those are the kind of relationships you want to create. So don't live in a misery. Master your own life. Misery is like the person who is always blaming whatever that happens to him on other people. Like he never takes responsibility, or she never takes responsibility for her own life. Whatever happens is somebody else's fault. The day you decide and say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. So if it's meant to be, if it's to be, it's up to me. So you take life and you start working it. And so you do whatever you can to get what you want in life. You are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. The faith to believe in yourself and see the invisible. You have to see what you want in your head before you even start trying to get it. Don't complain when you fail, and don't explain when you succeed. Just live in the moments and learn the lessons. Faith. Without faith, nothing happens. Faith takes us there, wherever we want to go. Faith in the unknown powers of the Almighty, and faith in your own unlimited powers and dreams. You have to believe that there is a superior being that controls everything. In Somalia, waxaan dhahnaa qadar. We blame everything on qadar. So you can't blame everything on qadar. Ilaahay wuxuu ku siiyey caqli iyo karti iyo maskax wax lagu samaysan kara. So you have to trust in Allah and tie your camel, as they say, the hadith says. So you have to believe in God, but also believe in your own powers, because God says, I created you and made you different than the rest of the animals because I gave you a brain. So we have to start using our brain. The faith to believe in yourself and see the invisible. Faith is what gets us to our destination. I believe that there is something better ahead and that you shall overcome whatever that comes your way. So this section, we're going more into the mindset of a professional, professional careers and how to build, your professional development in terms of your career, work related and stuff like that. So value is very important. Becoming valuable is the most important aspect you will realize in your professional life. Most people pursue success without ever becoming valuable. So in his book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill noted that there's nothing like getting something for nothing. So if you want to get something in life, you have to work hard for it. You have to become extremely valuable. Whatever it is, whatever field you choose, you can't say, I'm going to stay average and I want to get paid, excellent. It doesn't work like that. If you want excellent, income, you have to become excellent in what you do. You have to become extraordinary in what you do. Albert Einstein stated many years ago that he said, don't chase success, but become a person of value. We get paid for the value we add to society and to the marketplace. A lot of people believe that we get paid by the hour. If I ask you, a lot of you, how many hours do you work and how much do you get paid? You'll tell me, oh, I get paid $20 an hour. That's not actually the case. You get paid for your value. I can go and see a client today and do 30 minutes work for $1,000 because I am a lawyer. I've put in 8 years of schooling and 7 years of passing the bar, and I know my stuff. So what that does is you become more valuable in the marketplace. There are people who are always complaining and say, the minimum wage is too low. You should never worry about the minimum wage. You should worry about yourself. A lot of people do a job and they invest all their time in that job. But you have to invest time and effort in yourself. The person who invests more time and more energy and more efforts in themselves will become more valuable than anybody else because you have to learn. The professionals and the experts are the highest paid because of their value and their expertise. A brain surgeon can ask in the outwards of $250,000 for one surgery, and people will travel all over the world just to come and see him. So if you have somebody who is a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon that has spent 15 years in school, you're not the same guy who's it's not the same for somebody who just came out of high school or somebody who's been working a dead-end job for the last 20, 30 years. So the only difference is the brain surgeon has invested in himself or herself. And I once had, there was a legal secretary in New York that makes $150,000 a year. She makes more than the lawyers that she works for. So you can imagine somebody who has a paralegal degree and she makes more than the lawyers that she works for. It's because she's made herself more valuable than any secretary or a paralegal that works at that law firm. So what makes you different? It's because of the way you see yourself and the way you see your value in the marketplace. So when you put time and effort and you invest in yourself, for example, when somebody starts at Walmart, they start at a cashier, somebody will see themselves as somebody who is going to grow in that company and one day become a CEO. So they will invest in themselves. They will learn and read and study and do everything within their power. But there's another person that goes there, he's a cashier and he's unhappy, he's miserable at his job, and then he makes everybody else miserable. And he will never grow because he doesn't see the future. He doesn't see what he can become tomorrow. He only sees today. So that person is not going to change unless something changes in him. You'll be rewarded in public for what you practice and struggle with in private for many years. A lot of people, for example, I write a lot. So a lot of my writing is not easy. If any of you have decided to write, it's hard. And I've been writing for the longest time. Some people say I'm a good writer, but who says what's good and what's bad? But it doesn't matter what anybody says. I am still going to write every day for the next 30 years if I'm still alive. So that's the goal. In 30 years, I will not be at the same place that I am because I have learned more, I've written more, I've become better at writing and better at speaking. This is my first seminar that I've organized. So I'm planning to do one probably every year for the next 30 years if I'm still alive. So in 30 years, if I'm giving a seminar, I probably have more people. I probably get better at what I do. I probably be a better speaker. And that's my goal. I want to be a good speaker. I want to be a great speaker. But if I don't practice, if I don't learn, if I don't have the language skills, the oratory skills, then I will always be at the same place. But if I am always improving myself, if I am reading and writing and speaking, in 5 years I'll be at a different place. It's the same thing with every career that you want to go to, whether it's medicine, whether it's law, whether it's technology, whether it's nursing, account. It doesn't matter what it is. You have the ability to take your life to a different level, your professional life to a different level. But if it's meant to be, it's up to you. But you have to change. Nothing else is going to change. So if you want to become better, you have to change it where you are now and say, I'm going to invest the time and effort and read and learn and read and learn and try. Don't just acquire knowledge. Try, implement the knowledge that you have. Knowledge itself is potential power, but knowledge applied is the true power. So when you have the knowledge and you apply it, that's the true power. Because it doesn't matter whether it works or not. You have to try it and see whether it works. If you don't try it, you'll always be like, one day I'm going to try it. Those that believe in one day will end up in the city of Hadainon. So don't be like that and say, oh, I'm going to try it one day. Try it today. I'm doing this lecture. It's my first seminar that I'm doing. If I don't try it, then I will always say, oh, I'm going to try next year. But at least I have done, what I need to do. Whether I succeed or fail is beyond my control. But I believe I'm going to succeed. That's my belief system. So you have to pay the price to win in order to win the prize. So if you want to win big in whatever you want to do, you have to first pay the price. It doesn't come easy, and so you have to move forward. And one other thing that's important in pursuing your dreams and ambitions and in your careers is goals. You have to have goals. Not only goals, but you have to have big goals. Start small, but have big goals. So having goals is very crucial for everyone that wants to be successful in life. No matter what areas of life, everyone should have goals. In my pursuit to understand what makes someone succeed and another fail in the same pursuit is that I found that having goals was one of the difference makers. Every successful person in the world has goals, not just goals, but big goals, both short-term and long-term. So some people have short-term goals, like they have daily goals, they have weekly goals, they have monthly goals, they have yearly goals, they have five-year goals, they have 10-year goals, they have 15-year goals. In everything you want to do, you have to have goals, whether it's in your faith, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your physical fitness, whether it's in your financial literacy or financial literacy or financial fitness or in your relationships. For example, if you are married and you don't do emotional deposits, there's an account for everything you do. So for example, you haven't told your wife, I love you for the last 1 month. Your wife will start asking, how come he doesn't say that anymore? And then she gets mad at you, tomorrow. And then she will start saying, oh, you haven't even said I love you for the last 1 month. It's already caused you a problem. But if you kiss and say, good night or, goodbye during the day and say I love you, then you wouldn't have that problem. Or you do the emotional deposits every day, every week, every month. If you don't show love to your kids, they don't even know what love looks like. So it's a goal. Like when I leave the house and my kids are up, I have to kiss them and say, bye, Papa, I love you. And they will learn that because they become what they see. Not what they hear, is what they see. What Mama and Papa are doing at home. That's what they become. Goal setting is a skill that people develop and learn how to achieve them. There are so many books written on how to set goals and achieve them. Goals by Brian Tracy, that's one book. If you wanted to learn how to set goals, that's one book you can buy and it will teach you how to set goals. But for example, if you wanted to set your goals whether they are money goals, whether they are marriage goals, whether they are career goals. You have to say the goals that you're writing must be specific, measurable, and time sensitive. For example, let me see if I always have a check of the money that I want to get. So I always carry a check in my pocket. So whatever the year is, we have to look what year it is. So this check I have, it says 12/31/2025, and it's for $250,000 for legal and leadership services rendered. That's the money I want to earn, at 2025. So whatever goals you have to write them down and put them in your pocket. Some of you have, telephones. You can write them on your phones and read them every day. So in the morning when you wake up, read your goals. In the evening before you sleep, read your goals again, whatever your goals are. So, but have goals in every area of your life. Your academic life, your personal life, your relationship life, your money life. Have goals. Like if you look at my phone, I have 29 goals on my phone that I look at every day. Some of them go as far as 2037. I don't know if I'm going to live until 2037, but that's beyond my control. But what is within my control is writing my goals and reading them every day. If you don't believe me, try it. It works like magic. A few years ago, I wrote a goal that I wanted to increase my salary by 25%. And the year that I wrote, in June, I was actually making $5,000 more than what I wrote. But because I wrote it, read it, and believed it. There's something very powerful in our subconscious mind. Like, I don't know how many of you have tried, but when I was younger, I used to like math. So I'll be doing a math problem, then I can do it, and then I go to bed. In the middle of the night, I wake up, and I have solved the problem in my head. How many of you have seen that? I mean, look at that is the same thing. It's something very powerful in our subconscious mind that if you think about it, if you write and think about it and believe it, I'm not talking about the law of attraction crap that, some people say, oh, you have to believe it to get it. You have to believe to get it, but you also have to work at it, It's the same thing, like if you don't if you don't apply for a job, a better paying job, or don't ask for a raise, nobody's going to give it to you. It's the same thing. You believe it, you write it and read it, but you do the actions. And if the actions and the plan and the mind all come together, it works excellent. So goals must be written in the present tense. So I wrote, I am a millionaire by December 31, 2029. So that's something I wrote. It's on my phone, but I also know it by heart. So all my goals, most of them, I know them by heart. So by 2029, there is a likelihood, maybe like 80%, that I will be a millionaire. So you write it like that. You say, for example, this is a young man. He can say, you're a young man too, with big beards too. But you can say, Ibrahim can write and say, in 6 years, you write. So for example, you write, December 30, 2026, I am going to finish medical school. Or you can say, December 31, 2027, I'm going to have my real estate license. Or I'm going to get my PhD. Whatever it is, it has to be present tense. Specific and measurable. So if it's money, don't say I want a lot of money. Say, write how much money you want and by what date. But then you don't say I want money to do it. Say I am a millionaire, or I have $300,000 December 31, 2024. Write it down as it is, like it's in present tense, but it's specific, measurable, and it's time sensitive. So you have to write the time that you will have it. Now we're going to go into a money mindset. So the the goals and the values were all about your professional careers, like the way to set your goals, and then you have to become valuable in everything you do. And then you have to up your skills. Money is a very important topic, but it's also a very, controversial topic, because a lot of people don't want to talk about money. They, especially in our communities, there is a big taboo about talking about money, because a lot of us will never thought about money. When I was younger, my father would always put money on the table. I never understood why. I asked when I was like 11 years old, I asked, why did you put money on the table when I was younger? And he did, even until then. He was like, so that you don't have to miss it. So if you see money somewhere else, he said, you will not steal it because it's always there in your house. It's a psychological thing. But I carry always, like, at minimum $100 in my pocket. So that when people ask you, or you don't say, I don't have money, carry money with you in a money clip, even if it's $100. For me, I always carry $100 in my pocket, so that I don't feel like that I don't have money. I always have money. So if you change your mind, like the way you see money, money will be attracted to you. You'll attract money to yourself. So you have to change your mind and have the right mind in order to acquire the right money mind. So like you have to change your psyche. Like you have to flip it. If you've always lived in a society where people with money and money are seen to be something bad or something aloof, then you have to change your mind and say, in order to attract money, you have to have an abundance mindset and get rid of your limiting beliefs. Like if you've grown up in a family where money is always been a problem, like your mother kept saying, well, do you think money grows on trees? Whenever you ask how money, she'll be like, where do I get money from? What do I look like? Bill Gates? If people believe in that, then it'd be very hard for you to attract money to yourself. Stop saying that money does not grow on trees, or that money is the root of all evil, or that people who have money are crooks. They're in America, when we see somebody with, let's say, a Ferrari or a Porsche, like an expensive car, a Lamborghini, like the first thing that comes to our mind is like, maybe I can own that car. Maybe one day I can buy that car. In some parts of the world, like I think some places we came from, if we see somebody driving an expensive car, the first thing that comes to our mind is like, he's a crook. How did he get that car? It's because of the mindset of the society. America, when you look at it, America itself is a dream. It was created by people. Like if you go to the rest of the world, everybody wants to come to America. But we live in it, so we know what it is. So the perception the world has is what people have created. So you hear of the American dream. But for me, America, the country itself, is a dream. It's a dream created by people. So the founding fathers were too smart that they created this to be like a dream. So that when we see somebody with what we want, we dream to say, oh, I can become that guy tomorrow, or in 10 years. I can buy that car. So we have that belief system that it's because of our belief system, it's possible that we can have what that person has. But in some parts of the world, there isn't a dream. It's like a deadbeat dream. Like you say, oh, how did he get a room that big? Like, how does he have a house that has 13, rooms? He must have stolen money. It's possible because in some third world countries and in the African countries we come from, we've seen a lot of leaders that steal money, and they use that money to buy property. But you don't have to steal money to buy anything. You can actually make money, and you can attract money. But you have to change your mind. It's all about what is in your mind. I always say the difference between the beggar and the billionaire is not what is in their pocket. It's what is in their mind. It's in their brain. because the person on the street begging for money, he believes that that's all he can do. The billionaire, if he lost all his money today, he's going to start over tomorrow because he knows the secret, because it's in his mind, it's his belief system, because he believes he can make it again. There's a very beautiful statement that I had many years ago, and it was Jim Rohn. He was given a lecture, and he said that if we took all the money in the world and divided amongst everybody, like the poor, the rich, the middle class, and everybody had the same money, he said within maybe 10 years or 15 years, the money will come back to the same pockets that it left. So it's like, how many of you understand that? Like, it's very important, because the person that, like the rich man or the wealthy person, if they lose their money today, within 10 years, within a decade, they can get it back, because they have the belief system and their mind is set. They have the right mindset that they can make money, keep it, save it, and invest it. So you have to change your attitude towards money by believing money is easy to make and easy to save, and use it for good causes. Money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. So you have to change your mind. Money is a happy family that has no money issues. If you live, a big house and it's nice, then you enjoy that. If you have a nice car, you have money and you bought a nice car, you enjoy that. So there's nothing wrong with having a lot of money. If you don't have a lot of money and you want to have it, then you just change your mind and then start working. The financial literacy. So we talked about money. Money and financial literacy are different. Like, your attitude towards money and the way you see it is important. So if you don't understand money, you cannot understand how to earn more and save more and have more. So, you see somebody who goes to a grocery store and robs the grocery store, and probably takes less than $5,000 or $2,000 or $700. He's risking his life. He might even kill someone in there. He might get killed. For what? Just a piece of paper? Money is a piece of paper. It's just a means of exchange. We created it. So if you didn't understand, what money is, you'll always be doing the wrong thing to get it. So you have to understand it. You have to study it. You have to learn to budget. In terms of, financial literacy, is you have to learn to budget. Live below your means, eliminate debt, save at least 10% of everything you make, create an emergency fund, explore ways to earn more. So there are people who use everything they get. They spend everything they make. That person can never be wealthy. He can never, build wealth, or he can never have enough money, because if you make $100,000 a year and you use everything you earn every year, you'll always be broke. So for example, you make $10,000 a month, but your expenses are $12,000 a month. So you're always in the negative. You're always paying a credit card. So no matter how much money you're making, it's not the amount that you make that matters. It's the amount that you save and invest. So the secret to people who become wealthy is they live below their means. And they always save and invest. In the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, the concept of saving 10% of everything you make comes from that book. So at minimum, at least save and invest 10% of your money. If you can't save 10%, then you can't even invest. So you can't talk about investing. So you first have to learn how to save, and create an emergency fund for yourselves. Like, if you lose your job, and I have two boys, and inshallah, next week I'm expecting a daughter. So you guys pray for me. So my kids, everything I do is for my family. So if I don't save for their sake and I die tomorrow, alhamdulillah, my wife is a doctor. She can take care of them. But what if both of us died in a car accident? People have to raise them. They might go to relatives and stuff like that. And if the relatives don't have the means to raise them, then I've left them nothing. My father left me. Well, he didn't leave me nothing. My father taught me to be a good person, and all the philosophies that I know, I got them from my father as a kid. But he didn't leave me with any dime. So I had to I had to migrate from my dream to come to America and study, and so I always knew my way out was through education. So I tried so many degrees. Most of you know I have 5 degrees. So I started, trying everything. Tried math, computer science, science, and then 2 law degrees. But the one thing that I didn't know that I wish somebody had told me in my 20s was, it's not about the degrees. It's what are you going to do with the degrees? And so if the focus is money, I could have got my bachelor's degree, went to Harvard and got a business degree and went into investments, and I would have been a millionaire by now. But everything happens for a reason. So I went to law school and failed the bar 7 years. I took the bar 7 times in 7 years and failed 6 times. But my failures have taught me more than my successes. That's why failure is very important. So, it's okay. So my failures have taught me more. So like, I was 35 years old, lived in America, thank you, Akhi. I didn't have a dime to my name. I had a loving wife. I didn't even know how to love. I had 5 degrees. I didn't know what to do with them. So if you have everything you need and you don't know what to do with them, the money is useless. So know what you want to do, but always know why you want to do it. The why is also very important, because what is the reason that you want to make a lot of money? Is it your family? Is it an extended family? Is it your folks in Africa? Is it that you want to build an orphanage or a school or a hospital? Whatever you want the money for has to be something bigger than you. If it's not, you'll be disappointed. I mean, I can go work at a Chick-fil-A and be, taking orders. I make $15. That's okay. I can live on that if I didn't have a wife and kids and other families to support. But the reason you want to grow, most of the time, a lot of people do it for power and prestige and all that stuff. That's all in good. But if the thing has no meaning behind it, you'll be disappointed. Yes, okay, I made $1 million in 5 years, 6 years. If it has no meaning or what to do with it, the money is useless. What am I going to do with it? Okay, I got it. So what's next? So you have to have a plan on what to do with the money, whether to save it for your kids, school education, tuition or school education, build schools in somewhere else, build an orphanage in a third world country or somewhere where they don't have, schools. But the why has to be as important as, the what that, what's driving you. In building wealth, understand that it's a long-term goal. Especially Somali, then qof kasta wuxuu rabaa inuu taajiro maanta. It's a one-day thing. If you want to build wealth, it's not that easy. It's not that you're going to make it today and be wealthy tomorrow. And also, wealth is a mindset, and you acquire it. So if you might have $1 million or $1 billion and still have a poor man's mindset. So if you have a wealthy mindset and you start at 20, how old are you?
24.
20. Okay. So at 24, you start putting in $150, $200 into an investment account, like a 401k, an index fund, or a target fund. By the time you're 45, you might have, $350,000, depending on what your rate of return is. You can actually retire on that if you wanted to and go pursue some of your passions. My passion is this, helping people and speaking and writing. And so if I have enough money within the next, maybe 10, 15 years, I don't have to work for money. I will work for my passion. So you have to figure what is the secret to acquiring that mindset, that wealthy mindset, and learn and practice it. It doesn't come easy. If you've been raised in an environment where, you had a poor mindset, a poor man's mindset, then you have to try to change that. I listened to a guy who's in prison in California. He's serving a life sentence. He killed somebody when he was 17. He was a black guy, and they call him Wall Street. He has a name and then Wall Street. He went to prison. He couldn't even write his name. Like, he learned reading in prison and writing. He used to say, when somebody will ask me what I had in my hand, and I would say, oh, candy, C-A-N-D-Y. That's how he learned, reading and writing. And he said, one day I was walking, and then I saw somebody reading a newspaper, and he asked the guy, what are you reading? And the guy said, oh, I'm reading the Wall Street Journal. He was like, what is that? And he was like, oh, I'm reading about the stock. This is where all the white people keep their money. And the guy said, I thought white people keep their money in the bank. And he's like, no. This is where all the white people's money is. And so he said, nobody had ever told me about the stock market. He said, and he started learning. And people go to prison to learn from him now. He started investing his 80 cents every day while he's in prison. And for the last 30 years, he's been studying the stocks. And he's so good at, better than everybody, people who have gone to Harvard Business School. And he said, if they taught this in the ghetto, everybody will be wealthy. But nobody teaches us. Nobody teaches us financial skills, wealth skills. And so this is something that you need to learn and also teach it to your folks, your families, your siblings, your kids, if you have any. Because money is very important. A lot of people will tell you, oh, money is not important. Money is extremely important. That's why a lot of us go to work every day. And so, but if you knew there's an easier way to build wealth, wouldn't you do it? Right? So study wealth building strategies. So if you don't know the skills, then learn it. And have a wealth goal, a number. What is your number when you retire? Write it down. I have a number. And so when I retire, I want to have that amount of money. If I die before that, then it's well and good. My kids have a will, it goes to my family. But if I get to that age, then I can enjoy it. I can go retire and live in Zanzibar or somewhere in Somalia. Or in Kenya or Ethiopia, whatever it is, or buy a house in Kandondo Beach or whatever. But what money can buy, there is nothing else that you can use it to buy. Don't forget the other stuff that are important. There are a lot of things that money can buy, but money buys a lot of things too. But also understand about the power of giving. I once had Tony Robbins say, Tony Robbins is a personal development guru. He wrote the book Unlimited Power, Unshakable, and Money Master the Game. Money Master the Game is a very important book. Most of you should read it. And he said, I learned that the secret to living is giving. And Anaka Muslimin nahnay. We know that from Deen 10, you know. In the Quran it says you pay zakah to purify your wealth. We pay sadaqah, but the hadith says it doesn't decrease your wealth. It multiplies it. So the more you give, the more you get it back. I always say I give a lot in terms of helping people or even money, because I'm selfish, because whatever I'm giving I know it's going to come back to me. And I have tried it even when I didn't have any money. Like sometimes I have $20 in my pocket and I see somebody begging, or I go to the mosque, I give it, and I know I'm going to get it for sure, because I have that belief system. I have the yaqeen. And so when you have that belief system and you give it, you get it back in multiples. So the secret to living is giving. I'm not saying give all your money. Give some parts of it. Like some years I have, like last year for me it was 10%. This year is 15%. 15% of whatever I make, I have to give it away. So I have a goal. Like, what is your goal? So if it's 10%, if it's 15%, if it's 20%, make up your mind. So learn how to ask in order to receive. In Islam, what does it say? Ut'uni astajib lakum, right? Ask me and I'll give it to you. Learn how to ask. If you can wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and whatever you want, add money to it, and you will get it. So if he says, ask me and I'll give it to you, and the other verse says, I'll give it to you in excess and without measure. So why are we on the streets begging then? If the ultimate giver is telling us to ask him, why can't we ask him? So there are rules and regulations you have to follow in order to ask it. So you can use that in asking. So we can't be the believers and also be the beggars, begging other people to help us, whether it's our countries or our people. We have to have that belief system deep down rooted in our existence, that if I pray and work hard, I will get it, and I ask for it. Don't be the guy who works hard all the time but doesn't ask for it. Ask. Learn how to ask. Because asking is the beginning of receiving. If you want to get more, you have to start asking. Not just work hard and work hard. How many times have you seen people who have worked hard 15 hours a day for 40 years and they retired poor? So it's not just working hard. There's a lot of other steps you have to follow through to get what you want. So leadership is the next thing we're going to discuss, but I wanted to see if anybody had any questions about the money mindset. Sahib, waa istaajin kartaa hadda ya? Questions and then we'll go next marka hadda su'aalada ka jawaabno, or unless su'aaladan as duubaysid. For me, what I have learned within 5 years of studying this subject is, I think the greatest risk in life is the one that you never take. So if you don't take the risk, then you won't get the rewards. But coming to that question of, some people say, oh, money is not important, money is not everything. Money is not everything, is true. But money is almost everything, because we live in a capitalistic society where everything we want, we have to use money. If we want to travel, we have to pay for the ticket. If we want to go to the park with our kids, where they charge us money for, recreational stuff, we have to pay for them. Food, shelter, everything costs money. So, but the problem is, how do you get rid of the belief system that says money is not important? One is, start educating, the younger population. Tell them money is important, because if you don't learn a skill that makes you a lot of money, you'll always be a slave to a job. So how do you get out of the rat race so that you're not a slave to a job? Is one, get a job first. That's how you make money in the beginning. Unless you have a rich uncle or your father is wealthy and he can give you money, you can start a job. In America, anybody can start a job. Right now, the minimum wage is $15. And if you start with $15 and you live with your mother or your parents and you're 21 years old, you can actually save 50% of whatever you make. And even pay your college tuition. But the idea is to teach young people how to save and the importance of money. Because look at most of our population, like for example, there's a teenage kid going to high school. The kid says, oh, all my friends wear Jordans and Air Jordans. So the mother says, okay, I have to find $150 to buy Air Jordans for him. No, for my kid, that's not what I'm going to teach him. I'm going to teach him the importance of money by the time he's in high school. I'll tell him, he has an account today. Both my kids, I have a 15-month-old son, Yusuf, and Omar, who is 29 months old. They both have education accounts. But also, we're starting to an allowance account for them. If they want to use their money, then that's up to them. But I'm not going to buy for them expensive shoes. So I have to teach them the importance of saving so that they can use their own money. Or, by the time they're, 16, start working and make their own money. Without money, there's a lot of things you cannot do. And that's one thing you have to understand. But like they tell us to go to college and get employment, but nobody tells us like, oh, okay, when we get a job, how do we save our money? What do we start with? Where do we go from here? So that's the thing that mentality we have to change. We're not just going there to get paid so that we can use all our money on unnecessary stuff. We're going there so that we can have some money for a rainy day, some money to use to help other people, some money to pay our bills, and some money that we can use for leisure. But I mean, we have to balance everything out. For one, it's very hard for you to change other people. You can only tell them. The only thing you have control over is yourself. Anything beyond that is just advice. You can ask people, this is what I'm doing, and tell them the benefits of it. Like I'm 24, by the time I'm 37 or 40, I want to have $1 million, and I want to be free. So the money itself is not what's important, it's the freedom that it gives you. Because now almost all of us, like in the community, except few that have businesses, we have a job. So we can't go wherever we want to go, and we can't leave whenever we want to leave. So money gives you that freedom. So you can tell them the benefits of having a lot of money. Some Americans call it the FU money. Some people have FU money. So I call it freedom money. But be you. Be unique as you are. Like, don't worry about what anybody thinks about you. Do you. Do what you need to do to get out of the rat race. Improve your skills, become more marketable at what you do, become more valuable in the marketplace, and you get paid for your value. And you save more and save more and save more. Like the minimum is 10%, but you can always, like a couple years ago, my goal was to save 40%. And I think I saved 36.8%. I was very close. This year, my goal is to save 60% of whatever I make. I don't know if I will make it, but that's my goal. So, few years down the line, I might have a lot of FU money. And it doesn't matter what anybody thinks about me, because I have money pursuits, I have other pursuits. I want to help as many people as I can. But if I am poor and I can't even help myself, I can't help anybody else. So Worry less about what other people say and what other people don't say. Worry more about what can you do with you and your resources, and how can I help myself first. And once you're able to help yourself, then try to help others. I think the next topic is about leadership, and it's one of the subjects that I also study, which is also very important in this endeavor of pursuing success. So if you want to be successful in anything, you have to understand leadership too. So a leader is anyone with a position of influence. And from the head of household to head of state, you can be the head of your home, and you're a leader. And you can be the head of a country, and you're a leader. So John Maxwell says that everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything in life, he believes that rises and falls on leadership. So the first thing you have to do is you have to learn to follow first before you become a leader. And then learn to lead yourself, and then learn to lead others. So if you haven't learned how to follow others, you won't know how to lead people. If you have never been a follower, then you can lead. And then once you learn to follow, then you learn how to lead. So the first person you start with is leading yourself. So learn to lead yourself. So if Soomaalida xitaa hadday adiga noloshaada kala daadsan tahay, dadka kale kuma dari kartid, If your own life is messy, you can't lead anybody else. If your own life is headed to the wrong direction, you can't lead other people to the right direction. So you have to first learn how to lead yourself, and then lead others. In my opinion, a leader is anyone who wants to serve others. So service is one of the most important aspects of a leader. Mahatma Gandhi said, you find yourself when you lose yourself in the service of others. So if you're a leader, you have to serve, the masses, as many people as you can. A leader is someone who is working for something bigger than himself or herself. This is I created leadership, and every letter stands for something. So leadership stands for the following. The L, leaders learn their craft. Learning is an ongoing process. Success is a daily agenda to leaders. So if you want to be a leader, you have to constantly learn, and not only learn anything, but learn your craft. So the E is they explore their environment. So they don't just sit, they have a position and then say, oh, I am the manager, and then that's it. They don't become complacent. They work on constant improvement, improving themselves and those around them. So when you're a leader, you don't just say, oh, I am a manager, and then just say, okay, I have this position, I get paid, I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to order people around. No. When you become a leader, or when you're a true leader, you try to develop other leaders too. So you explore your own environment and see what you can do to help other people. They are authentic. They always do what is right no matter what other people think. They don't do it for expediency's sake or to please others. So some people do things, to please others or, to look like a leader. But true leaders are not like that. They're very authentic in what they do. It's genuine from them. They also develop other leaders. So the true mark of a leader is their ability to develop other leaders. So if you see somebody who doesn't even have a position and they're developing other leaders, that's the mark of a true leader. Like, people come to them for advice on what to do, what not to do, how to approach their life, how to approach their businesses. They engage others. The true leaders involve others towards working for a better tomorrow. They paint a picture for their followers and try to take everyone there through instructions and inspirations. So they give instructions to people, whether you have a business or you work for an organization or whatever it is, and they inspire people. Like If you can't inspire people, sometimes it's very hard for people to do what you tell them to do. It has to be something that resonates with them. They read about their industry. Leaders are readers. They're constantly working on themselves to learn their industry and improve their skills. Whether it's their people skills or communication skills, they're always working on all those subjects: people skills, communication skills, leadership skills. So they study a lot. I was listening to someone recently, and the person said the average leader reads 2 books a month. But I also read in a book that the average CEO in America reads 60 books a year. So you can imagine that, like the average CEO who makes multi-million dollars, a year, makes 60 books, reads 60 books a year. And E stands for, E in the leadership, stands for they engage others. The true leaders involve other people towards working for a better tomorrow. They paint a picture for their followers and try to take everyone there through instructions and inspirations. So that's what I was saying, that leaders paint a picture, like they have a vision. And so they paint that vision and they tell it to their followers. It has to be convincing. If something is not convincing and it doesn't, pull you towards it, like people will not go there. Like JFK said, we needed to go to the moon. And so he had to be convincing for people to go to the moon, and so after that, they walked, through everything, and then they went to the moon. So it's the same thing. You have to paint a picture, even though you don't see it, and carry your followers to your destination. So they also read about their industry. So leaders are readers, so you have to read a lot. The only way you grow in life is if you learn. If you want to make more money, you also have to learn. For you to earn more, you have to learn. So everything is tied to reading. Like one of my most important habits that I have adopted 5 years ago is reading. I read books that uplift me and then teach me, and then that I can learn from. I read leadership books. I read behavioral science books like psychology and stuff like that. And I also read relationship issues, money issues, things that are important, things I can apply. It's the same way for all kind of leaders. They read. And so you have to learn, you have to adopt the habit of reading so that you can learn more and so that you can earn more. S, they serve others. The great leaders are always in the service of others. They are servant leaders. A servant leader is a leader who is not self-serving but serving other people. So they're just there to serve other people, to help them in their problems, and they're involved in problem-solving issues. The H stands for honesty. Almost all true leaders are honest about their abilities. They're honest about their skills. They're honest about what they can do and what they cannot do. They're also honest to themselves. They don't lie to themselves and say, that I know everything. One of the greatest things that I've learned is that nobody knows, nobody knows enough. We always have to learn, and nobody knows everything. So the goal is to learn as much as you can, even though that you know that you don't know everything. You have to try every day to learn something new. The learning process it's very slowly. It's gradual. It's not like instant. You start, like I wrote this lecture the night before last night. I had to sit somewhere and then write everything from my head. The reason I was able to do that is I have read about these things and listened to lectures at least more than 2,000 times. There are videos that I listen to in my car that I sometimes see that I've listened to them more than 200 times. It's because I wake up in the morning and just listen to lectures in my car, driving anywhere, and I'm always reading. Whatever you want to learn, you have to study that every day. A lot of people underestimate what they can do in 5 years and overestimate what they can do in 1 year. You cannot learn so much in 1 year, but in 5 years, you can learn 5 times that. So if you put in the time for 5 years, you can go from being at the basic levels to a medium level. Like, I'm not where I want to be, but in another 5 years, I'll get better. Another 10 years, I'll be different. Another 15 years. If I keep reading at the level that I'm reading and studying, I might become an expert in something in 15 years, And so my goal is to serve as many people as I can, and so that I can reach as many people as I can with the message of, believing in yourself, taking risks, and, becoming better human beings. They're loyal to their cause and the true purpose of their position. They don't waver from their mission and vision just to please others. So the leader, when they have a vision or a mission that they're pursuing, they're not swayed by other things, like, for example, I want to help people as much as I can. So if somebody tells me, oh, take this shortcut, you can make easy money and be famous and stuff like that, I don't do it for the fame. I do it because it's a genuine interest in me. So that will translate for you that whatever you want to pursue, you have to be true to yourself. You have to be honest to yourself and say, how long will it take me to achieve this thing or to be a master in this? And then evaluate yourself and see where your skill levels are, and then work at that. Don't expect that you'll become an expert in 6 months or even a year or even 5 years. But know that you can get there if you're willing to put the time and effort. And so that's what leaders do. If they want to change an organization or if they want to change a company, they start at the lowest level, and then they start building. They build their skills, they build other people's skills, and they take people where they want them to go. The mission sometimes might change, but it's still the destination is the same. It's to be better. They have integrity. Trust is their true currency of exchange with their followers. If people cannot trust you, they cannot follow you. You have to have integrity. They don't borrow against their reputation. Like, they don't do crazy things, out of the ordinary. They're very consistent in what they do, and people trust them. And so they whatever they portray to other people is who they seem to be. Like, if I am, if I'm unfaithful to what I do, like if I am telling you something and I'm doing something different, then you're not going to trust me. If I'm telling you to read and I'm not reading, or if I'm telling you to, give and I'm not giving, you'll find that out. So it's what you see them do is who they are. Like, they portray who they are to the rest of their followers. Purpose. They live within their true purpose. They know why they do what they do. They don't do things because other people are doing them. They do them because it is the right thing to do. They know the purpose of their existence, and they stay true to that purpose. A lot of people confuse leadership with politicians. Politicians do things for popularity, to be popular, if you want to be a politician. But a true leader will always try to do the right thing, but they don't do it so that they can be popular. Sometimes they do something that makes them unpopular, but they still stay true to it. Nelson Mandela went to jail for 20-something years because he stood for something and he was willing to die for it. And the true leaders are like that. So every true leader has the best of the following. They have character, curiosity, courage, charisma, and conviction. So character, they portray the best characters, and they have good characters that attracts everybody. And they're a good judge of character too. They don't associate with people that they don't learn anything from unless they're trying to help them. Curiosity, they're always learning more and exploring stuff and trying to see what works and what doesn't work. So they don't just stay in the same place. They're always moving forward. They have courage. It's been said that courage is the key to life itself. If you don't have courage, you're not going to do anything new. If you don't have courage, you're not going to risk. It requires courage for someone to do anything important in life. The worthy, things that are worthwhile. For you to do that, you have to have courage. Charisma, they carry themselves with charm, and people are drawn to them. Like they have charisma that attracts people. Conviction, they do what they say they will do, and they say what they're going to do, and whatever their principles are, they stand behind them. And so those convictions of what they believe in, they're willing to die for it. They're going to say, I'm either going to do this or die. So they have that quality where they say, this is what I want and I'm willing to die for it. Whatever it is. Sometimes it might be the wrong thing, but true leaders are like that. And every true leader embodies the following values. So I call this hair plus love. So HAIR, your hair. These are my values also. They're honesty, authenticity, integrity, responsibility, and love. And we've explained a lot of this before, but honesty, they have those values of honesty, authenticity. They're very authentic. They have integrity, and they take responsibility for everything they do. And then they love. They love people. Almost all leaders, almost all true leaders love people, and they love what they do. All true leaders are better than most people in the following. They inform and instruct better, so they have better communication skills, so they can inform other people and then instruct better. They inspire and influence people. They communicate better. So if you want to be a leader, you have to become a good communicator. If we can't understand what you're saying and you can't communicate better, it'd be very hard for you to put across what you want people to believe in and where you want them to go. They have better people skills. People skills are extremely very important. If you can't get along with people, if you cannot start a conversation with people, you can't tell them what you want to do. So you have to have very excellent people skills. Or if you don't have, you have to work at it. You have to read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It teaches you those things, how to get along with people. One thing I have mastered is remembering people's names. People like to be called by their names. Like if you want to be a leader, you have to learn people's names. I have called people by their names when I want something. It's people that don't know me, like in a position of power, and they're always impressed because I can remember their names. And that's part of people's skills. How to get along with people, and say the right thing, and be kind to people. That you learn people's skills, and it takes you far. They care more for others than themselves. The true leaders care more for other people than themselves, and they always serve better. So now we're in the relationship mindset. It's not always about you. That's one thing you have to learn in life. It's not always about you. You have to accept that, and it's very important. Like when you see people, when you have wives, husbands, children, you have to give it to them. Don't take, like as men, we have ego as big as Mount Kilimanjaro. And so we have to get rid of our ego. If not, you'll always think it's about you. And one thing I figured out, if you want to be successful in life and you want people to come to you for whatever skills you have to make it about them, not about you. Stop taking everything personal. It's never personal. People will tell you stuff. People will say bad things about you. Let them say what they want to say. And don't take everything that happens personal. It's not personal, unless you make it personal. Don't focus on the problems, but the solutions. Whatever you resist will always persist. Stop focusing on the negative parts of your life. If somebody had, dumped you and left you, don't worry about it. Move on. It's easier said than done, but what's the alternative? If you focus on it, whatever you resist will persist. If you focus on the negative, you'll always live in that negative part of your life. But if you focus on like if somebody left you and say, oh, good riddance, or whatever, I don't want to say good riddance, but if somebody had dumped you and left you, and you say, maybe there's something better out there that I can learn from, or somebody who can treat me better. You have to, a lot of people will see the glass half empty. When you are a pessimist, you see the half glass empty, the glass half empty. But when you're an optimist and you see the good things in life, you always see the glass half full too. So it's not that I'm saying only see the glass half full, but you have to see both ways. You can see the glass is half empty, but it's also half full. And so that will gives you a perspective. And we're always, we're always affected by our perspective. And so we have to get the right perspective. And, it's a paradigm shift, but you choose that paradigm shift to seeing the glass half empty and half full too. If you're married or if you're in relationships, always apologize. Whether you're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Especially you guys. To the ladies, it doesn't matter whether she's wrong or right. The young men that I see that are getting married or trying to seduce the girls, I always tell them, always apologize. Whether she's right or wrong, she's always right. So that's. Okay, so before you even get to the fight, you don't have to get to the fight. Just say, if she's mad at you, you just say, I'm sorry, honey, it was my fault. Always take responsibility. Even when it's not your fault, it solves the problem instantly, So apologize, and whether you're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Stop judging people and see them for who they are, and be kind, because everyone is battling with something. Everybody is struggling with something. So, if you see somebody you're with and she's mad or he's mad, understand. Especially for ladies, you have to listen. Sometimes just listening is enough to solve their problems. That's all they want. Sometimes you can't solve the problem, but if you just listen, and that's easy. I mean, if it's your wife and she's pregnant and 8 months or 9 months pregnant, you can massage their feet. They'll feel better. But sometimes just listening is very important. In our community, men are considered, very macho. Like, oh, where's your wife? Why is she not taking care of the kids? Like, a lot of the times I take care of my sons, and I go home and men ask me, why are you always going home to take care of your kids? Where is their mother? I always say, well, they're my sons. Well, so why does it matter? I'm willing to take care of them as long as I'm here. Why will I be with anyone else when my kids are at home and they need me? But when you do that, you alienate a lot of people, especially men in our community. And so you'll be considered someone different. But different is fine. You're unique either way. Why does it matter? You're not here to live so that people can like you. You're here to live the true purpose of your life. So live your own life the way you want it to live without trying to please everybody else. And so be truthful to yourself. Be kind and humble, but be truthful to yourself, and be truthful to the people that you are responsible for, because you'll be asked for all that you're responsible for. So take care of your responsibilities, because in relationships, the biggest problem we have is people don't take care of their responsibilities. And that's why we have a lot of divorces, we have a lot of breakups, is because people forgot what they're there to do. Like if your wife tells you it's 11 o'clock, why aren't you at home? Don't get mad. Say, I'm coming home. I've been doing this. if your husband, for ladies, if the husband says, hey, you've been going to too many weddings for the last few months, then say, I'm going to reduce it. You don't have to, take it personal. But no problem is permanent, so keep positive mindset that things will be better tomorrow. Whatever problems you have with your relationships, it's not permanent. You can fight with your wife, you can fight with your husband. Don't take it too personal. It's not a permanent thing. It's temporary. The way I look at it is, I love my wife to death, and so if I fought with her today, I know it's only for today. So at the end of the day, I'm going to apologize, and it's going to be over. So it's not a permanent thing. What's permanent is my love for her, and she's the mother of my kids, so I should always treat her right. And so should you, whatever families you have. Like what I modeled my relationship with my wife was from, if she hears this, you'll be very hectic, but my wife has a relationship with her brothers and sisters. They love each other. So they will fight today, and tomorrow is normal. So I was like, what if I treated my relationship with my wife like that? So it's like sister and brother. You fight today, and tomorrow you're normal. So I modeled that. So sometimes we fight today, or we have disagreements. Tomorrow is the same. I call her, hey, honey, how are you? And so it's over. Because if you don't focus on the petty things, you will have a healthy relationship. But the problem we have as men is because of that ego, And so we're always trying to see ourselves as very important. Every human being is important, but are you willing to sacrifice your family relationship for your own ego? That's the thing that you look at and say, you know what, I'm willing to sacrifice my own ego so that I can have better relationship with my family. And so, and in this society, you don't want one person to raise your children. I have children, so I'm always looking at what is best for my children and my family. It's not about me. I accepted that. So when I got married, half of my life went to my wife. When I had children, my whole life went to them. So my whole life belongs to them. I'm here to serve them. I'm here to serve Allah, the Almighty, but my service to Him is, am I serving my family? The best among you is the one that's the best to his family. So don't worry about what your guy friends will say or what they think about you. What they think about you is none of your business. Don't worry about what other people think of you. Other people's opinion of you shall never become your reality. You create your own reality and say, this is my reality. I'm willing to live in this reality, and I'm willing to die living in this space. So choose your own space, create your own space, and live in that space. Not because you want to be, told, oh, Ahmed is a good guy. He lives. No, because it's the right thing to do. Everything you do, you should do it because it's the right thing to do. Once you live like that, it doesn't matter what anybody says about you. I could care less what anybody thinks about me or says about me, because I'm here to live my life, not live any other person's life. I never want to be an imitation for anyone else. I want to live my truest and best version of my life. Every human being has been created as unique, but whether you die unique or fake is your choice. So how do you want to die? Do you want to die with, us seeing you as a fake person, or us seeing you as a true person that's true to their sense of being? So stop trying to be imitating other people and trying to be fake. And so also make up your mind to be happy, because happiness is a state of mind. A lot of people are sad and they're using drugs and everything. It's just because what society has made them. I don't have to take any drugs to be happy. Allah has created me and has given me the best form He could give me. Look at yourself. You're as handsome as you can be. You're as healthy as you can be. Say Alhamdulillah, and be happy. Gratitude is extremely important. So one thing we don't practice a lot, that is not even preached a lot, that's extremely important, even in our health life, in our mental state, is gratitude. when you're grateful for the little things you have, you'll always be grateful for the great things you will get. So you have to start gratitude at an, very small, even when you don't have much. Because if you just have yourself and you're homeless, you still have your health. You can do whatever you want to. You can learn anything you want to. But if you don't show gratitude for what you have and what you don't have, then you're living in a state that, that's, lacking joy. When you start appreciating what you have, you will live a blissful life. Become solution-oriented, not problem-oriented. Don't see the glass just half empty, because it's also half full. So focus on the solutions, not the problems. In any kind of relationship, if your work relationship, your family relationship, your love relationship, whatever relationship it is, you have to focus on the solution. Educate yourself and learn ways to improve your relationship with other people. Train yourself to learn people's skills. Train your mind to be proactive instead of being reactive. That statement, I learned that from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is one of the habits. They say the highly effective people are always proactive. They're never reactive. Like no matter what happens, they don't react. They don't respond in a negative way. Because whatever happens, and they move on and see, what can I do about this situation? How can I get the best out of it? That's the way they look at it. So, but people who are not highly effective will always react and respond to negative situations with negative attitude and negative responses. But you don't have to respond sometimes. Sometimes when you're angry at someone, like for example, your significant other or your friends, you don't have to say anything. You can just walk away. Walking away will solve a lot of problems for you. For example, if you're with your wife or your husband, you can say something that can destroy your relationship. When you're angry, you say a lot of stuff. So it's better to be quiet and not say anything. So you don't respond, you don't react, you stay proactive. So if you have that mentality, nothing that happens is going to change the way I react, because I control my state of mind, then you're always going to do better in everything you do. Whether it's your work environment, whether it's, like when I was in universities in Texas, there was a lot of professors that said bad things about me. Places I've worked, a lot of people have said bad things about me. It doesn't matter. Now that I look back, I could have easily walked away. So learn to be proactive instead of being reactive. Persist through the storms of life. Be patient and pursue your purpose in life. When you persist through the storms of life, no matter what happens, sometimes in your life some storms will happen. And so you have to, persist through those storms and say, you know what, it's going to be better. There's a brighter day on the other end. There's a bright light at the end of the tunnel. So you have to believe that there are better days ahead, no matter what happens, and stay like that. But if you are, you're prone to react to your circumstances or whatever that happens, you'll always be, repairing things. When, like for example, you responded to an angry conversation, you said something bad. The following day, you're repairing that. But proactive people, they don't focus on that. Tomorrow is another day. They do something better. But if every time you're repairing something that you broke or you're fixing something that you broke yesterday, the other person that's effective, he's learning new skills. He's making more money. He's moving forward with a happy life. So people that are proactive, that have those highly effective skills, a lot of them are very healthy and they're very happy in their lifestyles. So don't allow your emotions to control you. Our emotions control a lot of the things we do. But if you, remove the emotions out of it and see for what it is, a lot of the times you're like, sometimes when something happens, I always say, what will I feel about this moment 5 years to come? Will I even remember it? Sometimes I'm like, God, why will I remember that? It's useless. So then you don't get mad about it. You don't get angry. You don't become emotional. You just move on. And then create an action plan for your life. If you don't have an action plan for your life, then you're always going to follow other people's action plans for your life. So create your action plan and then follow them through. Always know that you're a master of your fate and captain of your soul. Like nothing happens can destroy any of your life unless you die. No matter what happens, you have control. And so in relationships, you have to believe that. If not, then you're always in a storm. You know, this happened and this happened and this happened, you know. And then you control your destiny, not the other way around. You know, wherever you're going, your destiny, where you're meant to be, you control it. In conclusion, I think a lot of the things we said were a lot, but the takeaways are that you have the power to control your life. You have the power in your mind to get whatever you want in your money, you know, in your money life, in your relationship life, in your leadership life, and in any life that you pursue. You have to believe that you can control anything in your life, not the other way around. And so the mind is the most powerful thing. I believe mind power over manpower. You know, a lot of people try to do, a lot with their strength and all that, but you can control everything with your mind. The mind is the most powerful muscle in our body. It's called the brain plasticity. Your brain can grow as much as you can ever think of. You can acquire as much as you want. You can learn anything you want today. If I wanted to change my careers today and go into medicine, in another 7, 8 years, I can become a doctor. Whatever it is, it's in your mind. But you have to believe beyond believing that you are capable of achieving anything you want in life. You are capable of controlling anything in your life, except the qadr, the one that, the man upstairs controls. That one you have no control. But you cannot say, oh, there is qadr and God controls everything and there is destiny, and so I'm going to go and sleep on the street so that, God will save me from the curse. No. You still have, God gave you a brain to use it. So make the best out of your life, because you can. Whatever you want today, if you decide it today, you can make that decision and say, you know what? If I have lived a mediocre life yesterday, from now on I'm going to live an extraordinary life. The way you live an extraordinary life is you take small steps that are extraordinary, like reading, like exercising, like learning, like, doing the right thing. If you do that, within the next 5 years, 10 years, I promise you, you'll be extremely successful in whatever you do. And so the takeaway from this is that you can change your mind about anything and learn new things. You can learn something, unlearn it, and relearn it again. Because if you have learned bad ways and you've lived with it until now and they haven't benefited you, you unlearn it and relearn something new so that you can improve your life. That's the only way. The whole point was to give people a different perspective. I lived an average life, a mediocre life, until I was 35 years old. And it didn't serve me well. So I was like, I need to find out if there's a better way that I can live my life better. At one time, I was sitting in a coffee shop, a Java coffee shop in Nairobi in November of 2015. And I was like, I made a decision. I wrote something. And one of them was, I will never be broke again. I've never been broke since that time. You make a decision today and say, I'm never going to be unhappy again, no matter what. Whatever it is. Or you say, I'm going to truly love. Whatever it is. Or I'm going to have enough money. But you have to make up your mind. That's the first thing. Once you make up your mind and you made up that decision, you follow it with action every day, no matter what day it is. So make up your mind, make that decision, and follow it through with action. And then let me know in 5 years. Thank you.